Greetings to you, my dear ones. Today we are going to talk about the period that starts right today. It's February 5th of 2025. And a few days ago I was told in a dream, it was said, 502, people will reboot. I was so surprised, thinking, how will this reboot happen? And when I started to explore the process, I understood how it works. I'm sure you all have seen it, the movie The Matrix, Reloaded. And I'm going to tell you things right now that, well, most people will probably not perceive as a possible reality. How well can that even be possible? Well, yes, maybe only a few will say that. Most likely people will just roll their eyes and say, yeah, sure, Auntie, go ahead, tell us more. But those who are open to it, and God willing, you are that person, you who have ears, you will hear, and then, and this day and the days that follow will become for you the plot that is laid out in the film, or in the Matrix trilogy, Reloaded. And that's the final story. There is a Matrix resurrection. Because it's not fiction, it's actually a fact. And what is happening now is happening. In reality, for sure, you're experiencing strange things in your life. Surely, you feel like you've come to some kind of boundary. You find yourself in such a zone where on one hand you are running, doing, trying, achieving. Some people earn money while others focus on self-development. Well, basically everyone entertains themselves as best as they can. But it feels like you've hit a wall. So you're running, like in that computer game. The player has hit a wall and keeps running, but can't move the wall from its place. And this is happening for a clear reason. You've come to the limit of your own possibilities. An artificial personality, the personality that the Matrix created for you. And you believe that this is who you are. And today there is an opportunity to go beyond this personality. And the next 10 days, this will be like an escape from the Matrix. You can escape and you can go beyond this feeling of being stuck. Moreover, all the forces of nature are directed towards this. Everything will contribute to you taking this opportunity for yourself. Another question. But do you see where the artificial personality is? And where is your true self? And the Matrix is creating a lot of traps right now. These traps are hidden in our beliefs about ourselves, about our possibilities. These traps are so powerful that most people in general can't see them, as if they are not me. But that's not me. And this, well, has a very mediocre attitude towards me. Most people, some internal manifestations of oneself. Emotions, states, thoughts perceive themselves as, I am the thought, I am the state, I am the emotion, I feel this way, I live this way, I see this way, I perceive this way, I have these life conditions, I am conditioned by them. And this becomes this very boundary. That boundary, you hit a wall and say, that's it, I can't do this anymore. And you give up. And you give up. And the Matrix rubs its hands and says, well, we told you. What's the point in giving them any knowledge? What's the point in explaining to them that they are made in our image and likeness? Look at them. They betray themselves, they run away. They run away from the opportunity as soon as they hit a wall, which are their beliefs about themselves set In general, if you feel like you've hit a wall and want to be guided by that wall, like, well, that's it, we've hit a wall. What to do? It's not me, it's just life. Then you can be guided by it. And basically, there's no point in watching what I'm going to talk about next, because only those who have a deep need will hear it. Need, not desire. And need to go beyond these boundaries and pay a certain price for it. To pay the price in terms of your effort, because if you have the intention, the need, and are ready to pay the price, then you will be let through. You will be released from the matrix because you have grown up. But if you are a receiver, you are not ready to make an effort. You are waiting for someone to come and bring it to you. Then you won't be let through because you are still in the position of a child, in the position of someone who is not ready to take responsibility for more adult decisions, for more resourceful opportunities, for more powerful prospects in your life. And if you are still a child, so what? So, be where you are. And while the matrix is rebooting, to go through this entire process, personal disintegration along with the matrix, now I will paint a picture with oil of how it will be. Let's imagine that a great harvest has begun. Harvest begun. A great harvest is when there are seeds that have fallen to the earth, and the seeds represent us as individuals, as souls, the genetic code that shaped some of our behavior in the context of ancestral programs. This behavior has become our subpersonality, our artificial intelligence, our legacy, our knowledge of how to behave, how to act, what we can do and what we can't. And here we are. Within the boundaries of this personality, we are constantly doing something with ourselves. Here we are, the seed, information and knowledge about oneself, which I will reiterate is conditioned by ancestral programs that are embedded in the genetic code of a specific lineage in which we have incarnated. And that behavior, which was recorded at the beginning of life under the guidance of our mentors, earthly mentors, the living ones, parents, those who raised us. And this behavior, just a few of them, patterns, 4 or 5 patterns of initial behavior have shaped our character. This character began to manifest in all areas of life, and we remembered ourselves this way. And when we approach the mirror, all our knowledge about ourselves is stored in this memory cell of ourselves. So this is me, that's it. And I have this, that, and the other, and these are my boundaries. This is the seed. And right now, the seeds are conditionally in the earth, in the matrix. And the seed has 2 options. The first option is to disintegrate in the earth itself and become part of this land, releasing a certain energy. Yes, due to this earth in the form of trace elements and so on. And part of the seeds is ready to disintegrate. And to go beyond the earth, that is, to sprout using the energies present in the soil. To sprout, to go beyond the seed, the knowledge of oneself through disintegration can only be done by the soul that has become aware in a specific body. She says, well, yes, there are ancestral programs, there's a genetic code, there's developed behavior, and this manifests through my presence in this body. But I want to know myself as a soul. I want to manifest through this body. I want to express my abilities, the possibilities, everything, my spiritual knowledge about this life, about the world as it is. And not just within the framework of ancestral behavior. And these seeds will sprout, they will manifest. And these are the people of the new world. They will get the chance to live a different life, because they will make that very breakthrough They will go beyond the boundaries of that possible personality they got stuck in. The others will disintegrate and become the environment, releasing a sufficient amount of energy in that social structure, in the matrix in which they were brought up, lived, developed, and in general, completed their development within of their states. Like, I'm tired, I don't want to, I don't need anything more, nothing is interesting, I'll just live, everyone lives like this, and so on. By the way, lately I've been encountering a lot of people like that who have fallen into a state of some kind of disappointment in themselves, a kind of gloom, misunderstanding, and what to do next. It seems like we've done everything we could. Many people who have been into self-development have also given up. They said, well, we've already done so much for ourselves, but the hair is still there. And in his time, Jesus said that despair is a terrible sin. Why did he say that? Because despondency occurs when you reach a certain apogee of a specific personality, where you got stuck, and when it seems to you that you've already done everything possible. I have good news. Yes, within the framework of this personality, everything that is possible, within the framework of semen, you've done everything you could. Within the framework of the ancestral code in which you manifested, you did everything you could. Do you want more? Well, we need to move upward. And moving upward means making certain efforts on a spiritual level. And to make certain efforts on a spiritual level, you need to at least recognize yourself as a soul. And how do you recognize yourself as a soul? Well, it's about going beyond limitations, beyond the boundaries. And to understand whether you are within boundaries or not, I will explain now. What artificial ego is, the artificial intelligence that we live with inside ourselves, not the one that's in the computer, although it is in fact our mirror. Well, it's such an objective social mirror. And the one that we have developed within ourselves as the knowledge of the personality about itself. And where are its boundaries? And which boundaries need to be crossed? To recognize oneself as a soul and to start growing, unfolding, and developing. Let's go back a little indeed, just a few thousand years, and see how social behavior was formed. For modern society, it's no secret that the slave-owning system was the foundation of this society. In Russia, the slave system existed as early as the 19th century. In America, it ended in the middle of the 20th century. So we haven't come that far. But if we look at the roots of social behavior and societal models, we'll see that we are still living in a slave-owning system, just a more refined one. Moreover, this slave-owning system is an economic model of society where people exist to produce useful energy, economic useful energy. And their entire life is dedicated solely to this. The essence or mechanism of the slave-owning system is expressed in the following things. A small portion of people own, with all the economic opportunities of a certain area of the country or the planet as a whole. It doesn't matter. A small handful of people, the so-called slave owners. The majority of people, all the others, are executors of their will. And if we go back to the slave-owning system a few thousand years ago, it was like this. There is a master, and he has a certain number of slaves. He takes care of them. He feeds them, clothes them, provides a roof over their heads, treats them if necessary, and teaches them. Well, just enough so they aren't completely clueless. He teaches them They work for that. They work, and they give birth to children and teach them how to make children. The same thing, that is the task of such a system. To continue the lineage for economic benefit, for society. But not even for society as a whole, but for those who manage this economic model. Over time, keeping slaves became unprofitable. First of all, they breed, multiply, and create a lot of problems. Secondly, they start to show will, resentment, and create conflicts. They always try to prove it own to their masters, that they have the right to freedom. And then the system transitioned to the next phase. The slaves were supposedly given freedom, but the economic model, they preserved the economic model of life. They just gathered the slaves into little humans, into so-called cities and megacities. And the majority of people live in exactly that kind of life. And they provided secondary and higher education. They made it mandatory to receive this education. Next, healthcare, then infrastructure, and then the model of society. What are you supposed to do? You are supposed to live for the benefit of society, to have children, to raise children, to be useful to this society. Useful. How? Economically useful. Again. And most people are living like that now. For what purpose? Do they work for life or live for work? The answer is obvious. For most people, life is about work. Everything is dedicated to work. Everything is dedicated to economic prosperity. And there's this illusion, when I am rich, I will be happy. As long as I'm poor, I'm unhappy. And this is propaganda that sits in our mind like a picture. Self-realization, happiness, unhappiness, and what we should strive for in this life. And as long as you stay within this matrix and think in these categories. Just recently we had a discussion on our closed Telegram channel, Time to Wake Up. One girl went through a deep inner crisis. She actually complained about being in difficult life circumstances. Her mother is sick, she has no money, no job, and she's at a dead end, and she doesn't know what to do. She has a complicated life situation, and it's clear that because of this, she is unhappy. So it's in her head. She has this idea that she will be happy when she has this, that's when she will be happy. And this is the boundary of the economic model of the artificial persona that has been imposed. The system of values and interests. There's a stick that pushes you forward, and there's a carrot or a treat hanging in front of you, and you need to run there. And there's a certain behavior that is present in this. And relationships, and it's quite difficult to break out of this behavioral pattern in relationships. Because there is no other behavior that is being discussed. But in reality, happiness and unhappiness do not depend on that. What conditions are you in right now? It depends on how much you understand the value of those conditions. A seed breaking down in the earth experiences the fact of decay, some kind of primary unity, which has a genetic code, information, a program about how it should grow, how to develop, what to strive for, and so on. But it completely breaks down, gives itself to the earth. And only after that does it sprout, and with its roots in the ground and the trunk, the leaves, up to the light. But for that you need to have a deep need to find out what lies beyond this program. And should I really be unhappy? Because I'm in this kind of situation right now? Or is this situation the best for me? If I am a slave to the economic model, then yes, I will be conditioned by this environment and will do everything to fulfill the program of this environment. If not, then I refuse to be in a state of unhappiness. From a state of gloom, from a state of deadlock, from a state of tension, and I take a step forward, I'm jumping into the abyss. Remember in the Matrix Renaissance, where the main characters had to jump from a skyscraper, but at the same time remember who they are. And since their matrix consciousness, where the matrix itself is inside you, is a system of worldview, perception of the world, and feeling of the world. If it's strong, then expressing that faith is practically impossible, because you don't have the memory of the experience that you can actually jump and soar, not just fall and crash. And only the events themselves, life itself, pushes you. So to step over this borderline state, because either you'll be killed here, you'll be done for, or you'll jump. And whatever will be, will be. And of course we decide, we choose, we go beyond all our beliefs, and we go through the process of soul manifestation through the body and the soul. It is a program, a divine program, a resource program, all kinds of programs. And the body is capable of manifesting this program because it's within our genetic code. If you read how active it is for us, inside the body we are manifested at no more than 3%, just 3%. This matrix program is based on fundamental settings. The level of instincts, behaviors, where there is the continuation of the species, the protection of offspring, territory protection, and the generation of useful economic energy. And 97% is in a state of inactive. It doesn't encode RNA. It doesn't perform any understandable, useful functions for our body because it's the code of the soul. 97% genetic code is in an inactive state, in a state that is not useful for the body because it is the code of the soul, which we are quite capable of using, provided that we want to manifest as a soul embodied in a body, and only then can the body fully engage, revealing all its superpowers, super abilities. The super resources that are in this body are like dormant algorithms. And the hardest part in this whole story is to accept it. The idea that you are a soul embodied in a body, and that the body is divine, and what possesses these abilities, because matrix setups don't allow it. They hold on tight and manipulate fears, desires, limitations, beliefs, connections, obligations. And the stronger our desire to escape, our need to break free, the more powerful the manipulations become. And we have now reached a point where the manipulations have become maximal. When one part of people experiences tension, gloom, burnout, and a feeling of being stuck, and unbearable fatigue, this is a great symptom that the seed is ready for full decomposition. And another part of people doesn't even suspect that something is actually happening. They live within the framework of a robotic biological cycle. And they produce their useful economic energy, teaching this to children. And you can test yourself right now. What state are you in? Do you still think that you need to find a cool job? Something else to be happy, to earn more. What you need to take care of is that your children have a good job and more comfortable living conditions. Or do you understand what it is? Not exactly what you should be striving for. Yes, living comfortably is great. Living in comfortable conditions is fantastic. Having a lot of money is awesome. But that's not the limit of dreams. This is the limit of a 3% personality. And beyond the 3% personality, there are still 97 unexplored percent of the genetic code that would be great to activate. And those people who reject the slave model of consciousness, they usually refuse to work for someone else. They already want to engage in some kind of creativity, do anything, just not mindless labor. They spend a lot of time on their self-discovery, and they, in any situation, even when they feel like giving up, find strength within themselves. Intentions and needs. Every day, getting up and learning something new about yourself. Something else, something that you didn't know yesterday. If you belong to this category of people, then I am ready to share with you what events will be happening in the coming days, in the next 10 days. There will be a restart, a reboot of the Matrix, and some will stay in the old scenario, and some will enter a new scenario. But it all depends on the depth of the need. Cross the border. Those who haven't had enough fun yet in the old Matrix in the game, called a person, my name is so-and-so, I can do this and that, I have these abilities, I want this, I will be happy when, who wants to play within this personality still. You have a few months. The game will be exciting, painful, and you will constantly confront your own beliefs, struggling with yourself and not understanding where you got stuck. For those who want to test themselves on the subject of I am a soul embodied in a body. Those who wish to express themselves in full light, in full power, in complete spiritual awareness. I am a soul embodied in a body. Those who wish to express themselves in full light, in full power, in complete spiritual awareness. I invite you to mine. Now a closed private Telegram channel. It's time to wake up. We closed it because many scammers have appeared, those who want to repeat history, but not in the most reasonable way, manipulating people who are looking for a way out of the matrix. You will find the link to the closed channel in the description of this video. Come in, you will be allowed in by our digital guardian, and you will enter a space and place where you will receive every day small keys and tools that will guide you on the path out of the economic matrix, economic matrices, which has had its day. It's dying, and understandably, it takes with it everything that belongs to it. All those who serve it, it grinds them up like a black hole, consuming everything to release energy from those seeds that are not ready to sprout. I'll say goodbye for now. See you on the Telegram channel. I love you.